We got somebody else interrupting the podcast.
I don't know, but they're going.
I'm sorry if I hung up on you.
Yeah, it's somebody from Buffalo, Illinois. You're not important.
Oh, don't say it out loud. No, but
you know who you are with that 217 number.
I know who it is. It hurts. Guillermo, tell me what's on your mind, man. Get it off your chest right now. I don't want to hear nothing on the car ride back talking about, you know what, I had this one, I'm going to stop you. Because you had to say it right here, right now.
So, I was cruising the interwebs. I'm a car guy.
Yeah. I can tell by the hat.
And anything we deal with motorsports. And so this, as hopefully everybody's well aware, data mining, it's a thing.
Yes.
So even news articles are even targeted that are sort of automotive related. And there was an article I read recently for a case in Michigan where a customer went into a maintenance shop to get a tire rotation, and the technician failed to tighten the lug nuts, and the wheels came off of the car.
Yeah.
And the person got into an accident, and him and his spouse got severely injured.
Mm-hmm.
And so they then sued I believe it was a dealership or the shop, whatever the case was, and the defense was that a tire rotation means that the tires needed to be rotated, and that in fact did happen, and that tightening the lug nuts is not part of the rotation.
So in my brain, I'm trying.
That was what the judge ruled.
So wait, the defense was found. The prosecution. Wait, the defense was found innocent.
Yes.
So I brought my car in with tightened lug nuts, and in order for you to perform the service, you had to untighten them. So just logically thinking, in order to keep this person safe, I have to then put it back the way I found it. But apparently, you don't have to do that.
Not according to the way the law was interpreted.
So this has to run an appeal.
Yeah,
I would hope that it does.
How fresh is this story?
I read it this week, but I know sometimes old articles get posted, so I don't want to.
Do you okay? So because I think my brain melted. I had an aneurysm.
Yeah, that's about what happened to me.
I literally was going to confuse the prosecution and the defense at the same time. So, just with your understanding of the case, something that bothers me? Why come when people are wrong, they get a chance to defend themselves? You're wrong. There's a group of pedophiles who are suing the county sheriff because they have signs posted in front of their house saying, these are pedophiles, sexual offenders, you can't come here for trick-or-treating. And they're saying, you can't put that up, that's against our First Amendment right.
You lost your right.
You lost. Why are bad people being given the chance to
hide the fact that they're bad?
That made my blood boil. And because I've literally gone to go get oil change. And I'm going to use this in that. I could go get an oil change. I paid for it, and they don't put the oil in, and they send me on my way. Well, yeah, you paid for it, but we don't have to put it in. So what is the purpose of a service? Was there a sales tax associated with that?
Yes, of course.
So instinctively, you have charged this man to his own death and his own detriment at that. He didn't die.
No, he didn't die.
He didn't die, but to
He
his own.
could have.
He could have.
He definitely did.
Okay. So there's nothing. Was there nothing in it? I want to see this.
I want to expand a little bit because there's they can in fact sue for negligence.
Sure.
And that was still valid, but they were trying to sue for two things: negligence and also violating there's basically I can't remember the name of the law, but saying if you saying you perform a service, was that service actually performed? Because there is lots of instances where, let's say you go in and say you change the oil wasn't changed. So they said it. So the one that got denied was, no, the tires were in fact rotated.
Okay. You know what? With perspective now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like the judge should have just thrown the book at him anyway.
Yes.
Just off the principle, like, you fucked up. So you're going to feel every piece of this.
Because you're still giving him a bit of wiggle room. And it's like, that's fine that you're still, gonna get him on negligence. But you're still giving him an out saying, well, the tires were in fact rotated. And
you could ostensibly protect yourself with that saying, by the way, the judge said we were innocent of said crime. And people umbrella their victories. Even though it could have been a blanket sweep.
Personally, I would like to bring in expert witness on that. Maybe say, certified mechanic, they got all their ASC certifications. Say, can you tell me all of the steps to perform this procedure correctly?
Do you think? I mean, I hope okay. I hope
that's like saying you're gonna transplant somebody's heart. You replace the heart, but you don't sew them up.
That is it.
That registered.
That registered all.
And then wonder why they bleed out after they take them off the ECMO.
I replaced their heart.
You're dead? What the fuck?
The heart was transplanted. That's his fault.
Success. Yeah. You throw your scalpel and everything in the air. I did it. Witness me.
That's basically what they did.
That's a great one. That's a great one. Okay, Eric.
Oh, what's on my brain?
Eric, okay. I want to reset the camera. And we got all the time in the world. What is that? Go ahead and reset it right now so we can all get you set for this one. Because I want to know what's on your mind.
Man, what's on my mind is I watch a lot of videos on YouTube. Obviously you do podcasts, you look at podcasts, you see things. I see a lot of angry dudes on YouTube. A lot of dudes that are pissed off at women. I see a lot of men going the wrong way, the manosphere, red pill. I see a whole bunch of these guys, basically guys who've gotten screwed over by women, and now they're just want nothing to do with women. And they talk about feminism a lot. And
are these what we call incels?
No, these aren't. Some of them are, but most of them aren't.
What was the term?
Incel, an involuntary celibate. So a guy who can't get any sex, essentially. But there are some guys.
We don't have that problem, right?
My wife's right there. Guillermo's got a wife. And Hero doesn't have one, but he doesn't have any problem. He hasn't been an incel since he came out the womb.
Ladies, don't let it see you come. Yeah, what's that?
Yeah. No, but I see a lot going on, especially nowadays with ladies, and I kind of understand why they are that way, man. I have conversations with my wife all the time. She tells me stories about the way that these ladies think, and then I'll watch these feminists on YouTube, and they talk all the time about how they're equal to men. But I'm like, you want all the perks of being a man without any of the responsibility. And I don't understand. Like, Shawnee told me a story one time. She used to work in this office building, and there's some guys doing construction. And there's some ladies having a conversation about them, well, I'm strong, independent, I can do anything a man can do. And my wife just politely says, oh, why don't you go work with the construction guy? Oh, I don't want to do that.
Shawnee, you such a bully.
But I was like, seriously. It's like, no, I don't want to do that. But you want all the perks of being a man without any responsibility. And I'm starting to find out. They said the suicide rate for women is going up. The use of opioids is going up. The amount of loneliness is going up. Shawnee just showed here on our picture before we started. There's this lady that my wife knows that posted a picture on her Instagram. There's just something about coming home to a dog instead of a man. Are you kidding me? Would you want to come home to a dog and not a man?
Isn't that the story of Boss Baby?
Exactly. Boss Baby hit the nail on the head. Dude, and where we live at in town, there's so many single women that have pets. And I'm starting to find that they're embracing feminism to their own detriment. They're believing this lie that men and women are equal and we're not. Dude, I met this PhD a week ago, and he's a neuroscientist. And he was talking to us at the job about pain and how we respond to pain. He says they have scientifically proven, and he showed us under a microscope, the receptors that men have in their body that trigger pain are completely different than the ones women have.
Well, as we know, historically speaking, medical science has always been studied from the male perspective. And it's not until recently, like the 1970s, that we have said, oh, women have these things called pheromones and other types of hormones that make them a little bit different than us. You've noticed that their breasts seem to move funnier than ours. Like, we became surprised about basic things that we know.
Yeah.
But we also now know from just a nuance that residents of 2018 believe. And I'm using a race aspect because I'm just showing you how often science changes. We know that there are residents who graduated last year who believe that my skin doesn't react to pain at the same capacity as a person, my white counterpart. They believe that to be true, even though it is statistically proven not true. So, like, our internal emotions do sort of dictate our beliefs and our thoughts, even as a subconscious.
But as a scientist, that should not even be the case.
Yes.
But even to the bigger point, like I'm starting to see there's become such a divide between men and women in this country when we are supposed to have a symbiotic relationship. And I'm finding more and more women are older and unmarried and have no children. There was an article in Psychology Today. It's fairly old. And I've talked to her about this. It's fairly old. It's written about 7 years ago. It says the most unhappy person in this country is a woman who's never been married, no children, lives in a house by herself, makes less than $100,000. She said that woman is statistically depressed. And said that the happiest person in this country is a man average age of 39 with a median household income of $150,000 to $200,000 that's married and has at least one child. I was like, and we keep getting bombarded with the old way of thinking is wrong. And I was like, to a degree. But some of those traditions matter. And for most guys, I talk to my wife about it all the time. Like, guys haven't really changed what we want in women.
We want to drop off dick, pay bills, and eat.
Guillermo. We don't have a lot of requirements, dude.
And somebody do race car things.
Of course. Yeah, you're going to have to come to the track with me. Even though Shawnee wouldn't let me buy my tickets to the Formula One race. I'm just saying. She wouldn't let me pay $1,700 for the ticket.
Good job, Shawnee. Good job. Shit.
Guillermo, would you go to the race with me? Exactly. I'm going to take Guillermo since somebody doesn't want to go.
Okay. And I hear you, but I'm going to get on my soapbox right now. Because I am a person of, once again, I care not too much, but I want to give people the benefit of the doubt. And sometimes we allow waves to like these small currents to turn into big waves, yes. and they take on a different nature, a different beast. I like to think of myself as a feminist from the standpoint of I will gladly empower a woman who wants to do something that she's been told she couldn't do. Now, my empowerment stops when the conflict is now affecting your ability to maintain some form of status.
Yeah.
Like, for example, lady wants to get in the ring and wrestle with me. Have at it, boss. You're allowed. Go for it. I'm a woman, so I deserve XYZ without any repercussions or any consultation. Well, now hold on. You're affecting the other people, so I can't just. Once again, I'm going to protect you at the same rate that I protect other people. Yeah. So I'm always going to be fair and balanced to that extent. But like,
that's what I'm hinting at when you want all the perks without any of the responsibilities. Like, you have to consider that there's somebody else besides yourself. You can't just boss hog and bogard your way into a situation.
What do you think is fueling this? Because I mean, because we're not going to sit here and pretend like women aren't being discriminated against, held back, or their stories and trials and tribulations aren't true. Men selectively, men in this world have been the greatest destroyers of mankind.
100%.
So we have reason to believe that when they reach out to us, it is for a good reason.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have a wife. So I know me and you are, I like to think we are good friends, best friends. We on that level. But if your wife came to me and said, Hero said something to me that she deemed inappropriate, you going to have to come see me. Regardless. Like, regardless of, oh, we did a podcast together. How could you do this to us? Now, fuck that podcast. Like, you said something to my wife, and we're going to talk about this shit. So, men will honor their loved ones to the extent
to death. Literally.
Of death. So, we have to be very careful when we then pronounce these situations, these women, and give them the ability to be like, okay, tell us your angst, your pain, and let us help you. When that becomes the be all, or you do it that way or not at all,
mm-hmm.
It's all being said and done. I want to at least say this, women, for every man out there that's going to try and like X you out or stomp you out or not let you hurt, if you are willing to come to the people who are willing to listen to you correctly, there's a group of people out mm-hmm. here who will defend you to the very end.
And that's 100% true to your point. Like, I have a staff of 12 employees, half of which are females. And there's one particular person on my team that is a standout employee. And she's a young woman. And she came to me about coaching and mentoring. What? Okay, come sit down. Literally had an hour conversation. She's like, what do I need to work on? How do I need to improve? She's the only one out the team. I got guys on the team who haven't asked me for that. I'm going to make time for the person who's hungry. I don't care if you have a uterus or you have testicles. To me, that doesn't matter. But the point is, like you said, it's the approach. Don't come to me like you're entitled to something and then get upset when I'm not going to give it to you. Because I'll tell you what, nobody opened the door for me. I had to kick it in too, man. You know, I had to get out here and grind.
I was fucking there.
I mean, if you watch the podcast long enough, you know how 2018 was for Hero. And I just by nature of knowing Hero, I know, Guillermo, you've been through something in your life that you had to overcome by yourself. Like, how many people really came and just gave you a handout? So I'm saying, like, most dudes don't get handouts. You don't. I said, and I don't want to chase a rabbit, but I mean, I think it's just getting to the point where I feel like we need to stop focusing on the differences between the sexes and start coming together. And like, we need each other. We honestly do. Like, there's a symbiotic relationship that has to be upheld and maintained. And we got to get the ladies to stop thinking that they can do it all by themselves, because they can't. Because if
nobody can,
no one can, because civilization can't continue without them. And our world as we know it, if men check out of society, there's not one thing that women have that a man didn't make. The bed you sleep in, the car you drive in, the clothes on your back, the building that houses you or that you work in, the road you drive on, the cell phone you talk on, the TV that you watch is all invented by a dude. If dudes check out of society, where's the innovation gonna come from? I say I guess like my favorite sentence is, a man builds a house, a woman makes a home. I was like, we can doctor it up, we can make it up, and women just come in and make it so much better. And I don't see anything wrong with it. Like, how did we get so far away from that?
It's because I think it's a socioeconomic thing. Women have started getting higher degrees at a faster rate than males, which is creating
3 times
the rate. Thanks for the quote. Get fucked.
No, not this person.
It's mom.
We're gonna
no. Keep it live. Give me a while. I'll talk to her.
Huh?
I'll talk to her.
All right. Well,
we're gonna take a quick break. You guys can continue.
Yeah. No, but
yes, mother.
Like, Guillermo, like, what are your thoughts about like traditionalism and then like
doing the podcast,
the gender roles and kind of seems like a war, so to speak.
I don't see. So I'm first generation here, of Mexican parents.
The last one, though?
See?
Oh, snap! Oh yeah. Good, dude.
Yeah, I learned Spanish before I learned
I
English.
probably,
Good.
I don't know, because
After we got off the phone, then we can practice. Like me and Shawnee take learning Spanish.
But
Man, I
a
probably
lot
can
of
eat that
my
for lunch
relationship
tomorrow.
with my wife is very old school traditional.
Yeah.
And that's also got to do with our upbringing. My wife and I were raised in a very similar manner.
Okay.
Our parents are very similar to each other, and I wish she was here so she could back me up on this, but
Love you too.
she's doesn't agree with a lot of this like feminist movement stuff.
Wow.
She's just like she'll make statements like,
Mother said hello to all of you.
This is your job
Hi, Mom.
because you're the man.
Wow, that sounds like somebody I know.
Shawnee, say something about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're not gonna put me on. Just put my voice on. No, but it's true. I would love to meet her because I think a lot of times, women think that they can do everything, and this is the thing. Can you? Yes. Do I want to? No.
There we go.
There you go.
There you go.
I don't. There are just certain things that Eric is better at me about, and I'm okay with that. And there are certain things I'm better. And we both know our strengths and our weaknesses. And I think sometimes, especially in today's society, women get into this, I want to do it on my own. It's more, sometimes I do feel it's more an ego thing too, because they want to prove themselves. When in fact, it's really not bad to show weakness either.
And I'll be the first person to tell you. Like, one of you guys correct me, I'm quick to be like, thanks. Hey, I didn't know that. And I'll push. Even on Ayla's watch, if Ayla ever watches this, she'll tell you. I will literally sit here and say, no, you didn't. And she'll pull up the text message verbatim of what I said, when I said it. And I remember, the world needs to be okay with being fucking wrong once in a while.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It's okay. And the only person that's going to laugh at you is me. And I only got 20 people to watch this. You can't feel that bad. You can't feel that bad. But for all intents and purposes, that is the booth. Guillermo, where can they find you, bro?
You can find me on Anchor, Spotify, Google Play, Google Music. Type in Circuit of Life Podcast, Circuit of Life 2017, and it'll pop right up.
And all that lovely stuff will be in the description below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. He's going to post this because I already threatened him in the first podcast. And that first podcast ain't up. You damn sure know. It's going to be up.
Maybe it'll be a batch up, but I'll put both of them on.
Yeah.
We're gonna get as much as it, because we're gonna divide a lot of these up. Guillermo can do it however he wants, but I know I'm gonna use this to the fullest of my ability because I need all the content.
Yeah.
But Eric, where can they find us, bro?
I'm gonna tell you what. It's easier to say where we can't be found. We can't be found on Minds. We can't be found on Gab, and we can't be found on BitChute.
But if Eric shows me how to do all this stuff, I'll put it in there. I promise. We got Spotify. We got Spotify to accept us.
Yeah.
We made it. We made it.
And we
did.
And we get trolled on Reddit now.
We get trolled on Reddit.
You guys got trolls?
We got trolls, man.
Yeah, on Reddit. Yeah, they troll on Reddit.
And then, you know what? It's heartfelt trolls. Because you could just be like, oh, try hard, N-word. No, they actually listen to the podcast and say, you're wrong. And you're an idiot for it. And by the way, you made this fact and it was wrong. I'm like, damn. You actually listen and you troll me about it.
Well, listen, that's what we're here for. We want to have a discussion. Like, if I'm wrong, then I'll say I'm wrong.
The audience is giving us the most valuable thing, their time.
100%. That's a quote. That's gonna be the intro. That's gonna be the intro for this one right here.
Yeah. So, with all that being said, as we continue to identify with you as you identify with us, we greatly appreciate you guys joining us. This has just been our, what's on your mind? Somebody got to get shit off your chest, man. Just talk about it in a very, intimate, serious, matter of fact type situation. I appreciate you guys being able to speak with us. And whether you heard us or not, let us know what you think in the comment section below. And until then, we'll see you guys. And, take care of yourself.